with the families of 3 soldiers who died when their snatched Land Rovers hit roadside bombs in Iraq. They'll find out later this morning if they are able, finally, to sue the government under human rights law.
They say that the Ministry of Defence has a duty of care to provide the very best equipment. One of those family members is Karla Ellis, whose brother, Private Lee Ellis, was killed in an explosion in 2006 while he was in one of the vehicles. Good morning, Karla, and thank you very much indeed for joining us. It has been a long time, hasn't it, since your brother was killed, and you still feel that there is a battle to be fought?
Hopefully not after today. Hopefully, that'll be the end of it, and we'll have to keep sort of going backwards and forwards over trivial technicalities. You know what I mean? It's quite obvious what happened, and hopefully we can sort of get some closure from it and some justice.
Tell us what did happen to your brother.
My brother was out in Alamara, which was a renowned hotspot. Previously to him being killed in the snatch, the last person to be killed was Philip Hewitt. He was sent out on a mission, so to speak. He was sent to... the Iraqi police had confiscated some weapons from some insurgents and contacted the military to go in and collect them from the police station. My brother was sent in with a convoy and panorama to show people back home that they were working together. As it happened, there was a bomb waiting for my brother coming back, and he was actually put in a snatch Land Rover, whilst others were put in a Warrior car, and that penetrated the vehicle and killed him.
And your issue and the legal fight is based on what the use of the snatch Land Rover. Is that what for you is the main issue?
There's quite a few issues involved in the whole thing, really. I mean, the reasons for being there and the equipment as well. Unfortunately, we sort of took it to the Iraq inquiry, and that was sort of finished with there. And hopefully, people can learn from that as well, because I think it was just sort of, it wasn't right what happened. And then there was also the equipment as well. People are dying unnecessarily through lack of good equipment.
And you feel that the Ministry of Defence was in breach of its duty of care as an employer to provide safe equipment for soldiers like your brother to travel in?
Well, the bizarre thing is they couldn't owe the duty of care, and they lost their human rights as soon as they left the country. And obviously these are, heroic men who have signed up to defend Queen and country. Surely they deserve the best equipment that is available. And the snatch Land Rover was designed for Ireland. It wasn't designed for Iraq, and they were aware that it wasn't sufficient against the roadside bombs.
Because the legal case is, or the legal background is, that British servicemen and women are protected by the Human Rights Act if they're within a British base, but as soon as they leave the base, that protection then falls away.
Yes.
And you'd like to see that changed?
Yes, all of it really. I mean, more so obviously the equipment, and what the main issue is that if he wasn't sent out there with the snatch originally, then he wouldn't have died. If he was in a warrior, he would still be alive. Obviously, I can understand make it very complicated if they were owed had these human rights in a war zone, but the reasons behind the whole war make it very, very sort of difficult to accept, really. And obviously that on top of the equipment, it's something that I would like to see changed, and hopefully would be able to make moving on a bit easier.
And you want to be able to sue the government for damages, presumably on behalf of your brother's daughter.
I mean, that wasn't the initial thing. It was never about compensation. It was just about, I wasn't quite happy with the explanation I was receiving, and sort of pursued it down that road, and this is where we've ended up.
Because the other side of the argument can be, well, soldiers quite deliberately put themselves in harm's way on behalf of their country, and this is one of those tragic things that sometimes happens.
At the end of the day, he was, unemployed, and he wanted a job. He went in the army to do a good job, and to be a working person, and surely risks shouldn't be taken unnecessarily for any job.
We should say that the Ministry of Defence issued a statement on this. Our thoughts remain with the families of all those personnel who've lost their lives in the service of their country. Armed forces have access to a range of protected vehicles, and then mentions the list, giving commanders the ability to match the most appropriate available vehicle to specific tasks based on the assessment of the operational risk. Karla, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning.
Thank you.